So this morning, we are starting another round of training in the learning management system. You know, one of our commitments to you was to provide ongoing training inside the learning management system. And especially since the huge update that was done over the Christmas break, right? But before we get into that, I want to show you all, just go over with you an awesome resource that I want you all to please take advantage of. All right. I don't know if we are using it enough, but I will be sharing my screen and this wonderful resource that's available to you is, yes, the Ministry of Education website. All right. When you come to the Ministry of Education Bahamas.com, you see a button there that is just for you, teacher resources. And when you click onto it, it will bring you to the teacher resources page. Now, we did some refurbishing of this page to make it a little bit easier for you to navigate. So right here, you have your login. If you click this, this will take you to log into the learning management system at EMIS. And this right here will take you quickly into Office 365, that portal. And then what you also see available now to you is some options or some support for our learning management system. All right. And the first thing that you see here is the help center. Now, this help center, I was telling persons, this is the mother load right here. Okay, let's click onto it and see what you will find. Inside our help center is like the knowledge base of articles of how to for just about every single thing in the learning management system. All right. So first of all, it's categorized based on the user. So you can see that you can even send students to this. And let's say the teacher. And then we have three categories. What is it that you want to know about creating content, navigating the LMS, creating live sessions? And all right, let's see, I want to know about creating live sessions. Then when I go in here, I see that there are articles for creating live sessions using Microsoft Teams, how to start and end live sessions, recording and downloading live sessions, how to create custom live sessions, creating recurring live sessions, starting and ending custom live sessions, which is also with Zoom. And if you click onto any one of these, there you have an awesome how-to resource with images and in some cases even video showing you how to do each of these things here in our knowledge base. All right, so if you click on to any of these articles, they will open up in this really nice graphic way to help walk you through how to do these functions, all right? So I want you to remember that you have this resource available to you, and there are a number of ways to get to this point. But if you notice, I showed it to you through going from the main Ministry of Education website, just in case you don't remember all of the URLs. If you start with Ministry of Education Bahamas.com, then you click on to teacher resources, you will see that here for you on your help center. All right. And there are lots and lots of resources here. And like I said, you can even point your students or your parents for help. How do I sign into my account? How to access my messages? And you see that we have all of this information right here for your students, your parents, school administrators, even curriculum officers, for all of the users of the learning management system. All right. Now, the next thing that you will also see on the ministry's page is here, submit a ticket. And for anyone who started contacting me this week or from school open up, you know, about certain issues, I started responding with, please submit a ticket. Because it was very, you know, this is where you come to report. Let me just show you. When you come to submit a ticket for three main things. Number one, if there is a special feature that you feel the learning management system or the EMIS is missing. As you work through the learning management system and the EMIS, you think about it and you say, hold on, why I can't do this? Or maybe it should have a feature where I press this and it happened. Well, we get a lot of great ideas from you being the users of the system, and you can hear request a new feature for the learning management system. Additionally, one of the reasons you will come to submit a ticket is to report an issue that you may be having with your account. Something is going on with your dashboard, something is not loading, it's not working. This is where you submit that issue. And then, of course, to report a bug, something seems to be some error you keep getting or something like that. Because when it comes to these particular issues, a lot of them are unique to you, the user, in terms of your account. And so we have to go in and look at, okay, what's the problem with this particular account and why are you getting this issue? And between Sinclair and myself, we've been getting a lot of messages through every means, through Teams, through WhatsApp, through email, through telephone calls, and it's just been really difficult to manage the concerns coming in. And then you know how y'all go, they'll be like, oh, I tell Miss Wilson about this, and you know what, answer me, and sometimes it just get lost in all of the things going on, because everybody, your issue is important, and everyone, think that you just stop what you're doing and work on that. So doing it this way organizes it. So as the tickets are submitted, it's submitted in an organized way, and they are resolved or handled in the order that they received. So of course, if you're having an issue with your live class that's for 9 o'clock and you submit a ticket, I just want you to be patient and be calm. There's a strong possibility that we will not get to you immediately. Okay, we don't have immediate assistance available. We just don't have the capacity for that to handle immediate support, but we will get back to you once you report it this way. And like I say, this helps us. Okay, we're working through the system, and we want you to share. You have your frustrations now with all of the different things going on. This is the best way to submit them, because then we can manage and see what's coming in and know what we need to handle. I tell persons a lot of times, you hear people talking on the outside, oh, the system needs to do this and da 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 da, but no one comes in and say, well, hey, this is what we need, to give the suggestions or even to report an issue, because you may talk about it with your colleagues, but no one's coming to us. So sometimes we don't even know that there's a problem. All right. We thinking, okay, fine, it must be working all right. All right. So, but when you see that there's a problem, don't feel, submit 100 tickets if you have to, and we will get through them to try to get the right support to you. And then finally on this list, when it comes to the one-on-one support, is the personal training sessions. I can't overstate how important or how wonderful this is really for you as teachers, because we have this huge session now. We have 109 persons in this session with us, and when you book a private training session, it's just you and the trainer, and you get to tell them what it is that you want to know. I want more practice with this. I want you to show me how to do that. I don't know how to do this, and they will dedicate that time to you. One of the things you may even want to do is buddy up. If you have, one of your colleagues, and be like, okay, let's me and you go on this session together with the trainer, and let's work it together. Let's build some sort of working community right there. You can book your personal training session. Please take advantage of it. I don't know how long it's going to be available to us. Let's work that one-on-one team, eh?
Right.
And one other thing, and additionally here on the page, and we'll continue to add things as on this teacher resource page as they become available to us, is, well, actually from the main ministry website, there's a button for curriculum, but we also put it here as well. for curriculum and resources, because I don't know how many of you know that on the curriculum page, you can find instructional guides for each grade level, which is the curriculum really organized by grade level. And you'll also see the pacing guide. The current pacing guide also available here. A lot of persons were saying, I didn't get the pacing guide, or you didn't get it in email. It's right on the page. All right. And finally, what we just added to this page would be the primary content bank. And this is just simply the resources from, I keep calling it the first COVID term. You know, when we shut down the first term, and everyone was pulling together and putting the resources on the page. So when you go to grade 2, these would have been the 10 weeks of instruction from school shut down in March. And so when you go to it, you can see all of the resources. So once again, you have access to these if you want to download them and include them into your course space. They're already nicely organized, objectives and worksheet. The content is here available to you so that you can access it. A lot of people have been asking about what happened to the lesson kits or whatever inside the lesson library that were loaded up for you previously. Well, we have a little bit of hold up on that because as you see, we didn't come back to you with creating more resources, but the curriculum officers are working on a new strategy to get resources to you faster. But in the meantime, please feel free to go and explore this resource, because the content has already been curated for you inside here, where a lot of you already contributed to this, and now you can access it. All right. So I think that is all I want to share with you this morning about the teacher resources page on the Ministry of Education website. Like I said, you have more resources, more professional development opportunities here on this page. And you want to just, when you have some time, just explore this area, especially the help center when it comes to the learning management system, and then the content area when you're looking at building your lessons and finding resources that were already curated and created for you. All right, we good? All right, excellent. So now, as you know, for the reason why we're here today is because there was a huge update done to the system over the Christmas break. And this update was done in response to a lot of the feedback that you all had after the first term, after going through and working with the system and getting the suggestions, how, the team looked at it and how can we optimize the experience for all of our users, for teachers, for students, for administrators. And an update was made. And of course, it did not come without its share of challenges, right? And so, these things we just have to power through because, they happen and we will never really get over it, in terms of there will never be a point when we never have problems, just because these systems are man-made and these systems are systems. The biggest companies in the world experience issues. And if you like me, who are an Apple aholic, and you like Mac stuff, Apple, you'll notice they continue sending out updates, and they continue. Apple always in court because their users suing them for something, because of the way that they, create, or some bug or some issue. And so we're just a part of that digital technical world now, where we will be faced with technical challenges, but it's up to us to just power through them and continue to improve. All right. And so while there has been a huge update to the system. We are still, our ears are still to the ground and still listening to you. And that's why we want you to use that ticketing feature in terms of telling us when things aren't working. And even if you want to tell us when things are working. And so hopefully, I know that most of you would have already seen the update to the system. And now you'll be able to, in this session today, the training team will carry you through the various parts of that update and show you what's different, what's the same, blah, 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 blah. All right. And so I am now going to introduce, and I think, I don't even know if I'm calling this introduce, because you all should know my girlfriend from Jamaica, Leanne, who's joined us, who's been with us now for a long time. And then she will introduce to you her training team, who will then take it from here. All right, so Leanne, go ahead.
All right. Good morning, everyone. I just came on to say hello, right? I don't really have much to say or do, right? Because you teachers, some of you teachers should be used to me by now, from last year. So if it's the first time that if it's not the first time that you've seen me, hello again. Happy New Year. If it is the first time that you see me, like, where have you been? Because we've been doing this for some time now. So, thank you for bearing with us, like Samantha has said. We're constantly and continuously upgrading and improving for you, right? So just to highlight what we've tried to accomplish in less than 6 months usually takes 18, like 2 to 3 years to do. Okay. And so we are literally fixing a plane while it's flying, right? So that's what we're doing. And so, continue to give us that feedback, especially the ticket system. Continue to talk to Milo for help. Continue to go to the help center for those resources. That continue to work with us as we work with you to make the platform exactly what you want it to be, how you want it to be, right? And so without further ado, I'm just going to hand it over to my amazing customer success team, Sabrina Atkinson and Demario, who will be walking through the new updates and features for you today. Sabrina?
All right, good morning, everyone. I'm excited to be here with you today, and I hope that at the end of it, you'll feel a bit more confident in the platform, and you'll feel more equipped to do what you do best, which is to educate and equip the students. So, what I'm going to begin with first is showing you the first thing that you should have seen in the last release, which would have been the tutorials, right? So I just want to start there so you know why it's there and how you can best use it to your advantage. So if you'd noticed, it would come up in three places. Well, no, two places for you and three for the students. The whole idea of the tutorials being there is to help you to understand some of the new features before we would have been able to do this session. And so if you went through it, you should see that it just points to a couple of the existing features here on the dashboard on the main page. And then when you go into the classroom, you should see points to some of the new things that we would have updated, right? If you click the X, it's going to tell you that it's only going to be temporarily disabled, and to turn it off permanently, you're going to have to go through the entire tutorial and then click OK, got it, right? So the whole point of that is just to have it there in case you forget, or you want to go and do something really quickly, but you want it to be there when you get back, right? So if I were to reload the page, it would come back. And I encourage you, if you haven't gone through it, just go through it. It's really helpful. Um, yeah, so let me start from the beginning for those of you who might just need a refresher of how to log in or something like that. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen and go to the screen where I will log in.
For those of you that have logged in since that tutorial, did you find that helpful, you know, in seeing all of the different things that were there? You already knew about all of those, you know, areas. Did you find it helpful? Please let us know in the chats or comments below.
All right. So for those of you who have been logging in, it should be most of you, all of you. To log into the Bahamas Virtual Learning Portal, you have to go to, of course, the URL, then click Staff, and then you will see a button that says Login with Microsoft. Once you click that, you're going to be asked to enter your MOE email, and I don't have to enter mine because it's already there. So I just click it, enter the password, click Sign in. I'm going to click no because I don't want to stay signed in. But we recommend you click yes so you don't have to go through this process all the time. And then once I do that, the first page I come in contact with is the apps page, or what we call the apps page. It shows you the two major components of the learning portal, which is one, the LMS, Learning Management System, and two, the EMIS, the Education Management Information System. And to the right, we just have a list of quick links, which includes one, the help center that Samantha would have shown you a while ago, which brings you to the articles page or the knowledge base and where you can add your tickets, right? The second link is EMIS support, which has to do with the EMIS set of articles that help you with your how-tos and your whys. And then the third one is just a link to the MOE website. Right, so I think that's pretty helpful to be on this apps page here. So if you ever want to go to any one of them while you're in the LMS, you can do it here. So to go to the LMS, I'm going to click go, and it's going to take me to this first page, which is the main dashboard. I see a list of all of my classes as a subject teacher. And if I were a homeroom teacher and I click homeroom, or if you are a homeroom teacher, you should see a list of all of your homerooms as well, right? Okay, so I'm going to, let me just talk quickly about if you want to change a class picture. That would be this gear icon here or this settings icon. You click that, click upload image, and it's going to take you to file manager to select a new image to change your class image. So I'm going to go into a class, and the first thing I'm going to do all right, so this is the new classroom page that has the updated view of the content that you post. It's essentially the same idea of you going to a section, adding a lesson, and then adding the content. However, we've optimized how the process gets done, which is why we have to do this little training session so you know exactly how to do the things that are there. So I'm going to talk about the content first and then go through the individual sections. So under each lesson,
Sabrina, you know what I think would be good, because this is like our default dummy class where we have lots of data. So if you could go to a cleaner class, maybe Wilson's math class, and that would be so much more helpful for them to understand from a cleaner class perspective.
Okay. All right, so I'm in this class, which is much cleaner. And if you look to the left, there are 4 sections. And then within this first section, there are 3 lessons. And if I click the name of this, or click this second lesson, second section, I'm going to see some more lessons with content. And the difference between this new class stream page, and just for reference, class stream will always be this first page that go to by default, and there's a little yellow line underneath class stream. So everything here, this is what's called the class stream. All right, so under each lesson, there's content. And the difference between this new class stream page is that you don't see the content on the class stream as it was before. So in the first version of the LMS, you saw if this PDF was posted, you would have seen the actual PDF with the words and it's scrollable, and your students would see that as well. However, with this new LMS, you only see the name of the content, and to access it, you have to click it, and the students also have to click it. And they're taken to this page, which is always there, but it's called the content player or the content viewer. And now this is where you see the full content and the students get to interact with it. In this view, your students will be able to complete the lessons or complete the units, which then increases their progress. So let me go through that a bit more in different words. So before, when the classroom had the content just visibly there, just okay. When the PDFs are posted or the PowerPoints are posted on the classroom and the students saw it, they weren't able to complete it, which didn't their progress. Now they're able to go to the content player, which is this page, click the button to complete it, which then increases their progress. And I'm going to go over to the student view and show you this.
Just 1 second, Sabrina, if you could just go back to the classroom stream 1 second for me.
Sure.
Let me kind of drive that home, because I did get a lot of messages about why is it that it's not showing up on the classroom stream, the embedded content. So she explained it twice just now, but I just want to bring it out again. Previously, when you embedded or when you added content, they showed up right here in the classroom stream for the students to see. The YouTube video, the PDF, everything was here. The problem was, it's just like when we're on Facebook or any of those things, scrolling through your feed doesn't mean that you you view every single content, right? The only after spending some time on a particular, you click onto it, or you will the system register as view, or that you interact with that particular content. And it was the same thing for the students. And you would have noticed that or heard your students saying, or even when you post content, you saw that the progress bar was 0%. Does that mean that the students did not see the content? Does it mean that they did not touch it? And the truth is, we don't know, because they may have just scrolled, they may have opened, they may have, or they may have not. And so by doing it this way, it forces students to commit to interacting to the content. So if I want to see the PowerPoint lesson, I click onto it. And then by clicking onto it, it then tells the system that the students went through this particular door. And that is reported to you. So you get now to see when some students will be like, oh, I didn't see the work. You could actually see where they click, because they access it before. So it's better reporting. All right. And so, yes, it doesn't look as, as kid friendly as we would want to, or all of that on the classroom stream. But the reporting aspect of it, we found, was a little bit more important when it comes to the classroom stream, because they can still access the content in the content viewer. But that ability for the students, or that extra step for the students to click, that gives a lot of information. It lets you know how long did they even spend on that particular piece of content. When they went into that particular view with the PowerPoint, when they went into the video was 10 minutes long, but they only been there for 5 seconds. The system then can record all of that report all of that type of information to you, and you get to see this. All right. And so it was important for us to make that change, so that they now have to click to commit. You hear that before, click to commit to get into it. And so now Sabrina is just going to show us the student view on it, because I know that's something that you don't get to see as the teacher, even though it really looks similar, but just so that you can see what the student view is and what we talk about when it comes to that progress. All right.
All right, so thank you, Ms. Wilson. So this is the student's view. And if you didn't know, you might not have realized because it looks pretty similar to your view as a teacher. The difference is at the top, the student sees his or her progress bar, as well as under each section, there is a percentage that shows how much of each section was completed, right? This isn't the same math class that I was demoing under the teacher account, but it works the same, or it's the same idea. So in this section, there are two lessons, Friday and Monday. And as the student, if I click the content, all right, the class stream tutorial tip is here. I'll just click it off. Right, so I see the PDF. And when I scroll down, I see the button that says click here to complete. Once I click that, I see a notification, successful. I completed it, right? And if I scroll down, let me do that again. Okay, so it automatically, because of the tutorial, I keep clicking X, so it's refreshing, reloading each time. But I completed this lesson, and the button says completed. Let's continue, right? If I go back to the classroom page, I'm going to see that it has now moved from 0% to 33% completed because I just completed two of the items or two of the contents posted under this section. If I were to complete all of these within the section, within the lesson, then the progress bar for the class itself would move from 0 to, I think, 25% because there are only 4 sections. So the progress bar increases based on the sections being completed to 100%, and the section increases based on the lesson completion within it. I don't know if that's clear enough or you want me to repeat it, but that's essentially how students complete content. There's a check mark beside each content that they have posted. So as a teacher, if you post content and the students keep saying, oh, I'm completing it, but I'm not seeing my progress increasing, with this knowledge, you can now say, okay, well, do you see a green check mark beside it? Do you see the progress percentage increasing? And if the answer to that is no, then they haven't been going into the content and clicking the button to complete it. All right, let me switch back over to the teacher view. And
since we're over the student view, I think it would be good just to show how to verify your account password.
Okay, sure. I wanted to do that further down, but I can do that.
Thanks.
This account, I think, has already been verified, but to verify a student account, which just means that they now have the ability to reset their password, they click the menu button, which is to the top left corner, which should be right beside the name of the school. And within the list under my messages, they're going to see account verification. Once they click that,
just to know that this account has already been verified. If it wasn't verified, they would have seen it on the dashboard page and in the banner. Okay.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. I don't know if I can quickly find an account with that there, but let me go through this process first. So once they click that button, it takes them to this page that allows them to choose at least 3 security questions, which they have to provide answers for. And if they want to reset their password and they're logging in, if they forget the password or it's not working for them, these 3 questions that they would have set the answers for, they would be able to reset the passwords themselves using these questions or by confirming the answers to these questions. And this allows the process to be much simpler for them in resetting the password. But the only thing is that they would have had to have access to the platform the first time to set the questions, then they can reset their password on their own. So if I click next, so I selected these 3 questions, and I can always change the answers to the questions, even if my account has been verified. So I'm just going to just put in something random. And anything that they put here is what's going to be stored. So they have to remember these question answers. Review and confirm. It shows me the answers that I put to the questions. And once I click confirm, it says success, right? And there should be a green button or a green tag beside it to tell me as a student that my account has been verified.
Now, let me just say this. Why is it that students' accounts need to be verified? I know she said that, but let me just say this again. It is so that when students have forgot their passwords, they can reset it themselves. Right now, you know the procedures. Either they have to call into the center or go into Milo or go and see the system administrator or something like that. Now, let me say this. If they've never verified their account and they don't know their password, the forgot password option will not work, because they haven't verified their account yet, which means they will still have to go through those original ways of getting that password reset. But once they have access to the system and they verify their account, if they forget their password tomorrow, they can reset it. They can press that reset button and it will ask them their security questions and they can reset their password again. All right, so it will not work unless they are able to verify it. You can't verify it until you have access to the platform in the first place. So if you have students coming in this term, they forgot their password from last term, or they never had access to the platform before, and they need a reset, they will have to follow the original ways of either using Milo at the in the bottom, asking for a password reset, or calling into the center to have their password reset. But once they get in, that yellow bar at the top, please tell your parents about and your students to verify their accounts, okay? There is an article on this with images right on that same knowledge base page that talks about verifying your account. And let me just say this, we also have a session for parents coming up this week. We'll be sending notices about that parents will, that we will be streaming for parents as we walk them through all of these things as well, okay? And we'll try to see if we can get some other quick tip videos that you can share to your parents on how to navigate this new interface, okay?
All right, so this is, as Ms. Wilson said, the student who has not verified their account will see first this yellow bar asking them to verify, telling them why they should verify their account. And then in the menu, they will see a yellow tab that says not verified. All right, so back to the teacher side of things. I also want to point out that there is another way of getting to the help center from inside of the LMS or inside of a class. If you go to the top navigation bar, with the very top blue bar on your screen, the same page, the same place where you go to the EMIS, there is a button that allows you to go to the help center where you can access the articles and create tickets as well. Okay, so another update that came with the classroom is another way to add content. And if you notice, there is the same green button that says add content, but it's now beside each individual lesson within a section. And if I click the button, I'm going to see the same list of items I can add from this add content button. So let me show you the old way or the first way. So add content, and I select the content type. And this way, it's just a list, but it has the same items you can add from here. And then it also has some go-to items where you can see a list of all the things that you would have added. So a list of files, a list of all the tests, surveys, assignments, lessons, and training sessions within this specific lesson. And by training sessions, we just mean live sessions. So those live classes that you create using Microsoft Teams or the custom live sessions using Zoom, those are what are the training. Those are the training sessions. So I'm going to show you firstly how to create or talk about the lessons and then adding the live lessons within the section. So
Sabrina, sorry to just interrupt. I just want to call attention to, before we get to that, this is something I actually built into this class just to show teachers in terms of their organization with the sections and their lessons. If you notice over on the section side, I created 3 ways that you can, examples on how you can organize your content in the classroom stream. The first way is lesson by days. And so when you look in lesson by days, you see I have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, where you will place your content. If this is the way that you want to place your content by days, or periods for the week. So if you see you have this particular subject every day or twice per week, and you want to put the content in it per day so the children know what they should need to do per day, this is a way to do it. Another way that you can list or organize your content is by content. You can say, well, this is math, and math is we do a bit of an integration, and we look at the concepts, computation, and application. So if you want to say that for this week, you know what your topics are for those, and we're going to organize that content by the concept skill, the computation skill, then the application skill, so that this, it's organized in a way that the students can easily access or understand what it is. And then finally, there's also the lesson flow. If you want to organize your content by lesson flow, and when I say lesson flow, you have introductory activity, whether it's an introduction video or whatever. Then you have that content where whether it's the PDF, the PowerPoint, or just a recorded lesson. Then you have practice and apply. So perhaps this is where you have your links to your Kahoot game and to your EduCaplay or could your whatever. And then you have assessment if you have an assignment that you want to place now with this particular lesson. And so it gives some order. And what I would recommend that you do is to decide which one of these ways you find works best for you and your students. And when you teach or when you do your live sessions, share screen with so your students can see and say, all right, so in Tuesday, here is where you find, or okay, so here's where the activity is in the practice and apply session. Click onto that link and complete the activity or complete the live worksheet or whatever the case may be. You think about a way that you can organize your content, and then you can follow that pattern from now on, and it creates routine. So you have, you don't have to keep thinking, okay, what I have to put here, what I have to do, as well as your students now know that I should expect my everything that's graded or everything that is for fun or everything that all of my homework would be in a particular tab labeled this or labeled that. All right, so I want you to pay special attention. Over on the class sections, we talked about naming your class sections by the week and the date or something like that, so they can navigate through that. And then once you get into the stream in terms of the lesson, how you're going to organize those topics or their subtopics, which are the lessons inside the classroom stream. That's very important when we talk about students accessing content, and then for it to be making sense for them as well. Now, I have a question coming in about how do you delete, and that was something that I actually had sent up to Leanne or Sabrina initially, or the last part, the last system, you were able to delete a lesson if you made a mistake or you don't want it available. You want to just address that for me, please?
Sure. So you can still delete lessons in this new class stream. However, the process is just another extra step. So when you go to add content and you scroll down, it's the go to lessons library shows you a list of all of the lessons within that section. So the same lessons that you would have been seeing in the classroom a while ago, lesson by lesson plan flow, introduction, all of that, you're seeing them here. And if you look to the extreme left under extreme right under operations, you'll see a delete button. And I'm just going to delete one of them and confirm the deletion. It's removed from this list here. And if I go back to the classroom view, it's gone. So it's pretty simple, just an extra step from what was there before.
And Sabrina, can you rearrange them too from that view?
No, so rearranging it is not possible, but it can be a future request or a
I
future
see what you
upgrade.
did there, Samantha. I see what you did there. Not yet. Not yet. Okay. But it's coming, guys. Believe me when I tell you, we're working hard. We're listening to all of the feature requests. We're prioritizing all of the feature requests and we're doing them, right? But the most important thing for this upgrade, why we did it, was because we wanted to make it easier for the students to follow along and complete the content. And if you notice, there are additional resources for you teachers to be able to do, right? And Sabrina will go through that as well. But no, not yet for reordering lessons. Okay, Samantha, but you can reorder the sections. And I'm just curious to know, could you please put in the comments, like I feel like this group kind of quiet, but just put in the chat below, like how are you guys organizing your class sections? Are you doing it by week? Are you doing it by content? What's the third one, Samantha?
Days.
I actually have a poll on that
Oh, look at you.
exact
This is why
same
we in
thing.
sync.
So
This is
I
why we
forgot
in
about it
sync.
actually. I'm glad you brought it up. So how do you organize your content? You'll be able to see that. Fill in that poll right quick for us.
Right. So this is interesting, right? Because the ones that I've, done sneak peeks at, I've usually seen days or period, right? So, hopefully this will help or even enlighten or inspire you to do it a certain way that makes the most sense for you. All right, continue, Sabrina.
Okay, sure. I also, just a comment, I also see a lot of people organize it based on weeks. And then I've seen a couple where a teacher just has like a section for live sessions, which is pretty cool. Um, like while I'm here, I just want to point out that you can still deactivate lessons. So that just means hiding them from the student's view. So you do that just by clicking this button or this toggle here, and you'll see it's red, which means that if you go to the class stream, it's still there for you, but the student won't be able to see it anymore. Right? So the functionality that you had before is still there. So before Leanne mentioned that you're able to reorder your sections, I just want to touch on that a little bit. So in the sections here, you see there's a plus icon, which is just the same thing that allows you to add the sections from the lesson kit or the sections that the lesson kits that the curriculum officer would have uploaded. You're still able to add those. You're able to create your own sections. You enter the section name, the description, and select a course that you want it to relate to.
I
And
just want to add one thing. Could you go to create section? Why it's super powerful, teachers to the relate to select course. This is everything we're doing is for reporting purposes, right? So when you type, even though it's not mandatory, if you type to a course that that the curriculum officer has uploaded, this will also be tied to, for reporting purposes, how many lesson kits, or not lesson kits, lessons, sections, topics. Topics, yeah,
Courses.
topics were created and material was created. So if you type week 1, your specific section that you create, to week 1, then that will be tied to how many pieces of content were created in total. But it's not mandatory. You don't have to do this, but this is just for future reporting. So at the end of the year, Samantha said that there were 5,000 pieces of content that was created under, week 1, sorting subjects, personal words, and flats and shapes. And 4,000 of those came from the curriculum officer, and 1,000 of them came from the teachers. So this is really for ministry. So if you want to help them out for reporting, you can do that, but it's definitely not mandatory.
All right, thank you, Leanne. You can also still edit or delete the sections. So if you click edit, it opens up that same view and you're able to change, let me not change the, yeah, I'm going to change the name. Just add an A, submit, and give it a second, and it's updated, right? You can also remove the sections. I don't want to remove one of these sections because it's so well done, kudos to Miss Wilson. But you can delete the sections, right? And then to reorder, it's this arrow here, and you just drag and drop the name of the section, and it will change the order in the class. All right, let me just give it another refresh. And lesson by lesson plan flow is now in the middle. All right, so now that we have an idea or a grasp of the major updates in the class stream, I just want to touch on adding live sessions. It's just the same, but I just want to give you a refresher just in case you would have forgotten or you want to see how it looks now in the new class stream. So I'm going to add the live lessons from the new add content button. And the first one I'm going to do is Microsoft Teams live class. So I'm going to click, so what I did, I click add content, click add Microsoft Teams live class, and it brings up the same view where I have to click sign in. Then I'm signing in. I just entered the email and password if you didn't see that. And now I see create meeting link. Once I do that, all I have to do is enter a name or the live session. Keeping it pretty simple. Ensure the date and time is correct. I want it to begin at 10:30 a.m. Right? And it's going to last for an hour and a half. And I'm going to click create. There's a success message, meeting created, the page is reloading. And while this is happening, just note that you don't have to do anything, just wait for the page to reload itself, right? It will always reload and show you this new view with the created new lesson. So if you look carefully, the name, the status, the duration, the teacher who created the lesson, and the meeting link is all still there. And it comes up at the top of the section. And if I go to another section, it's going to be at the top, just the same as it was in the old class stream page. And again, this is just for reinforcement or just so you remember, okay, I have a live class right now. So if you're in another section, you can still access it. It's just to make it as simple as possible to start the session or to join the session for you as the teacher or for the students as well. To start the session is just the same. You click the start session button. There's another button that says launch. Once I click that, it opens up a new tab asking me to open Microsoft Teams. I'm not going to go through that process because it's just the same. So if you have been creating live sessions using Microsoft Teams, you know this process and it's just the same. And when I go back to the class stream, I see the start session button has changed to join session and the end session button is now clickable, right? So it's there's nothing different about starting or ending a live session with this new class stream. I'm going to click end session. I'm going to confirm that the session has ended. And let me refresh the page. All right. So okay, I don't see. I saw a question coming. You have to create a live session every time you create a lesson, or could you go into custom live and make it recurring? Okay, thank you for that question. You preempted the next thing I was going to do, create a recurring live session using the custom live session option. All right, so I'm going to click add content, and I'm going to click add custom live class. And the view is the same, different from Microsoft Teams, but the same way you create custom live session from the old live, or from the first classroom page, right? So I'm going to give it a name, custom live session. I'm going to select the date and time, say 10:30, keep the duration. I'm going to paste a meeting link, copy, and paste, okay? And now I'm going to click, is it recurring? So this opens up 2 additional fields where I can set recurring live sessions. So I'm going to say I want 3 recurring live sessions to be repeated daily. So I'm creating a recurring live session from this one session that should be repeated 3 times for the next 3 days. I could have selected weekly, so it would repeat for the next 3 weeks, but I'm going to do daily so you can see that on the timetable. All right, so if you look closely to the left, you see the first one that was created. You see the same name, custom live session, but there's a hyphen that says day 2, custom live session hyphen day 3. So these were created using that recurring feature that I just did. And if you go to the lesson that it was created under and you click the name of the live session, you're going to go to the content player page and you're going to see details about that first session that was created. So remember, the ones that are recurring have the hyphen and the day beside it, and you're only seeing one here. If I were to click select another, I would see training session 2, custom live session hyphen day 2, and I'd see, if I click it, I see the details. So it's going to be the 19th, which is tomorrow, starting at the same at the time. Then day 3, custom live session. To have this information be shown here, you click select, confirm you want to have it to be shown here on this page, and you'll see it there. I don't recommend that you select it until it's time for it to be started, because there's nothing you can do to it until it's half an hour before, unless you update the time, right? So let me just show you again that process. So I'm going to go back to the class stream. And I see the 3 live sessions that were created, the one for today, the one for tomorrow, and the one for the next day. If I go to the timetable.
Sabrina, could you, oh, I was about to say, go to the timetable.
I go to the timetable, I see those 3 live sessions. The one for today, which is green because it's live now, or it can be started because it's 10:30 today. The one for tomorrow, and the one for Wednesday.
I'd also like to note, Samantha, that feature request of the sessions that span the entire time is now a part of the timetable, Samantha. So if you go back to the timetable, instead of if it's a 2-hour session, 3-hour session, it's only showing 11 to 12. Now, if you have a session that is 8 to 12, 12 to 1, it will span the entire time of the class. And the timetable is now also mobile responsive. So when the students are logging in on their mobile device, it will also be responsive and adjust to that mobile device and tablet. So we listen to the cries and we listen to the requests. It's just when we get to them.
All right. I want to go back to the classroom page and show you that you can still update the recurring live sessions. So this session for tomorrow, I want to change the name. I don't want the day 2, and I want it to be more than an hour. So I'm going to click the 3 dots. I'm going to click update. And I'm going to change the duration to 2 hours. And I'm going to call it custom live session for Tuesday. I'm going to save the update. A second to reload on its own. I see the name has been changed here. And if I go to the timetable, the length of the session has gone down to 1 p.m. So it's no longer an hour like the other 2. And the name has also changed here, custom live session for Tuesday. I want to also show you that you can still delete the live sessions if you want to. So I don't want a recurring session for Wednesday anymore. I'm going to click the same 3 dots and I'm going to click delete. And it's now gone from here as well as the timetable. And bear in mind, the same thing that you see here on your timetable, your students will see. So if you have sessions for every day of the week, your students will see them for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. In the time slot, they'll see the same colors. And this red behind here was that first session that I created and ended. So red on the timetable just means that the session has ended. All right, are there any questions? I see some chatter in the chat about the recurring live sessions. I don't know if anyone wants some clarity or something to be repeated.
I think there was a question about reoccurring and creating a reoccurring meeting with the Teams option.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sure. So it can be done, but not initially. So what that means is when you're creating it. So if you saw when I was creating it, there wasn't an option to do the recurring live session. But if I were to update it, I could select recurring and update it to be recurring, and it would have the same name. So yes, it can be done. You just have to create the session first and then update it to be recurring.
But to answer the question, this is only for custom live sessions, not creating it with Microsoft Teams.
Right.
Okay, and someone just private messaged a question, and this was one that I had actually addressed from the very beginning. For primary schools, you would not need to create a live session for every single lesson. Remember, I told you that was up to you. You can do a morning, so one that goes, because you see the children and you're in that room all day with the students. You can create a morning session that runs you from 9 until 11:50. I think that's when it's lunchtime, and then another one starting at wherever is after lunch until 3 o'clock. Because the good thing about it is that the live sessions run across anyhow to let them know. So the students will know this is where your morning live sessions are, even though they may be in a different subject. Mm-hmm. All right, so you can do that. I would not recommend doing it for the entire day. And a part of it too is it helps the students to practice going in and out, even if it's just twice. All right. Now we have people private messaging me the questions with me to come in the main group. I have people in the group watching for your questions to answer you. And I see all these direct message, direct message. Can live sessions be saved? That is actually, if you go onto that knowledge-based questions, that the knowledge base, you will see, what is it? Recording, creating and recording live sessions or something, downloading live sessions in the help center, you will find the support, the resource for that. Yes.
So I just wanted to show you
Right. See the third option, recording and downloading live sessions, and then you would have to paste the link to the live session so your students can access the, sorry, not the live session, the recording. Paste the link to it. So if you're using Zoom and Zoom records, then you know how to, if you know how to get the, you just need to know where the recording is. Either it's on your computer physically or it's in the cloud. I'm not sure what your Zoom account will have, but if it's on your computer, then that means you will have to upload the video to the platform or some sort of cloud space and insert the link. But you have full control over your recording, when it records, how it records, and who have access to it. We don't control that.
All right, so enough about live sessions. I want to go into adding content now. And a common content type is PowerPoint. And I'm just going to click add content, and then I'm going to click add unit. And adding a unit allows you to add multiple types of resources, right? Whether it be just text, which would fall under editor, H5P content, right? So you would see a list of different interactive H5P content types that you can add, adding a URL, or uploading a file, which this is where you would go to upload your PowerPoints or your PDFs, right? And if I click upload new, it's going to open my file viewer, and I'm going to select a PDF. Let me do a PowerPoint. I'm going to select a PowerPoint, click it. It's uploading pretty slowly. I feel like I need a really large PowerPoint. Look at the size.
While it's uploading, I think it's something that we probably don't talk about enough, Samantha and Sabrina. You see how to complete it, right? So in the content viewer, by default, it's with a button, right, Sabrina? But let's talk about the other options that a student could do to complete the content.
Sure. So to complete a content, by default, it's with a button, which is that blue button that I showed you from the student side, where they click it and it changes to a green button that says it was completed. You could also select that it's completed after a period of time, which just means once they click it and go into the content, they have until the number of seconds that you enter here for it to be marked as complete. So let's think about a PowerPoint that you know should take them a while to go through. You are going to know, select the number of seconds, and then if they leave off of that content viewer, which means they aren't viewing the PowerPoint, then that timer automatically pauses and it won't mark as complete until they go back and the seconds run out, then it's marked as completed, right? Automatically completed, that just means once they click onto the content, it's automatically completed. And then none would be for content you don't want to, well, you don't want to contribute to the progress. So something that's just a helpful resource or like a point to note or a tip, something like that that shouldn't, or you don't want it to contribute to their report at the end of the semester, at the end of the term or the end of the year, you would do that. You'd select none for that. So I uploaded the PowerPoint and I see the name and everything. Once I click save.
Now, one of the things that you have to know, guys, the PowerPoint, if you upload a PowerPoint, it means that the students have to download the PowerPoint. Okay, that's a downloadable file. Anytime you see that icon with that cloud and the down arrow, that means that it is something that must be downloaded. Which also means that unless the student have PowerPoint on their devices, they cannot open this. And so this is why one of the reasons we've been telling you to convert your PowerPoints into PDF. And if you do it via PDF, then most viewers, even the browsers, are able to open up PowerPoint. The PDF. But I have two cool new tools that I want to show you, Sabrina, if you don't mind, since we're right here, that might interest you in how you can get your PowerPoints to be viewed by all students. All right, regardless of the device that they are on. You know, I like showing you new things, and as we continue to grow and develop, it's always good to find new things. So the first one, let me let's open it up and share my screen. The first tool that I want to show you is called Slide Player. It's from slideplayer.com. It's free. All right. So if you go to slideplayer.com, you can then create your own, take your PowerPoint presentations and upload them, and they will play for you. So once you create an account and I go to upload, then you upload your presentation, upload, and you upload it as a PowerPoint, whatever the PowerPoint file is. And once it's uploaded, it comes in this nice little viewer. So if you have animations and everything built into your PowerPoint, when you press play, it will play and it will automatically go through the different slides for you. All right. And then you can take that link, you can copy that link, and then you can paste it then into your into the content viewer. Sorry, not content viewer, what do they call ad unit as a link. So I'm going to add content, and I'm going to call this one slide player so that you can see. And I'm going to choose a URL. And you know, we're familiar with this part. And then you press the embed. And you'll see that it'll begin to load right inside here. And then you press save. So when you get into the content viewer, when the students come here in the content player, they're able to see that PowerPoint. And if you have animations and whatever, it will play in this particular way, because you know the PDF actually flatten it, and you don't get to, if you have things coming at a particular time, it doesn't show that. So this one is slideplayer.com. Then there's also another one, and you can determine which one of these are easier for you, is Aspoze, A-S-P-O-Z-E. And it's a free online presentation viewer app. And all you do is the same thing. You find your PowerPoint presentation and you upload it. Let me try and find a small one so it doesn't take too long. And once it's uploaded, it will present it in a nice viewer for you. And you just take that exact same link, and you can now, I'm going to add another content just so that, and this one, I'm going to put it in that same area, and I'm going to call this one Expose Example. And I do the same thing with the URL. Did I get the URL from here? I think I did. Let me go back just in case. Paste it. And when I press embed, you can see that it begins to load in here. And then I press save. So that now when the students go into this, they have your PowerPoint presentation in a nice, cool viewer way. And then you get to add in all of your animations that you are used to having, and they will come up and play here for the students without having to download the PowerPoint. All right. And so this is a good add-in. I think that you can look at. 2 examples I showed you. I'll type them in the chat so that you can access them. And it really makes the presentation. And then once the student is done, like Sabrina showed us just now, if we had created this to say that after a certain time, so we're going to say they need to spend 15 minutes on this piece of content. After 15 minutes, it will automatically say completed. Or if you want them to complete it by clicking a button. So as teachers, you know, you have to really think about how is it that you want the children, because you could actually say that now. So if the students say, oh, I don't see the progress, well, you didn't spend the right amount of time with it, or whatever the case may be. And then once you press on complete, then you'll see the progress for this particular unit. All right, so just those 2 little tools I wanted to show you that will do the exact same thing, and you could play around them to see which one you like best and practice embedding them into your class stream. Sabrina.
Was that sounding like me, Samantha?
Pardon?
Was that sounding like me?
Yes, that's you.
All right, so how are we doing so far with the content? It's pretty self-explanatory, guys, so far with everything we're showing you. And then just to reiterate, everything we're showing you is also in the Help Center. Everything that we're showing you. So hopefully, you know, this is just providing a little bit more clarity and confidence for you guys to execute your work. And then also to note, as you do that, scroll up, oh, too late. You remember the live classes at the top. So for primary school teachers, like Samantha said, we recommend, you know, just having maybe an AM and a PM session for the entire day. This is where the students can easily just click it to log into the session. So they'll see between 8:30 to 11:50, that one session that is live now. And then what's the afternoon time? 1:50 to 2:30 or 2:45. That's the upcoming session, and they'll always see it as live now. So that is just where the students will see it for easily jumping in and out of the classes throughout the day. And then one thing before we move, I know we moved on to add content, but Sabrina, could you go into a class with students where we've created several live sessions so they can see the attendance on the left-hand side? And you are on mute if you are speaking.
My bad. So this session had, well, this class had a couple students attending. Mind you, our school is really small, so we don't have as many students attending like you would. But if in the live sessions container, I clicked show past sessions, and it would show me all of the sessions that I would have created, as well as the attendance for each session. So I see 2 students attended this one, 1, 3, 2. Yeah, so that's how you would see the attendance there. You could also go into the session and scroll and find the one that you're looking for. Click view attendance, and see the attendance list. So it says 0 attended here in the background, and it's right, 0 of the students attended. All of them show as absent. I don't think I have any sessions here that students actually attended. Yeah, no, I don't. All right. Okay, let me go back to the math class with the great organization. And I'm going to go through the 2 last things I want to show or remind you as teachers. And they're 2 powerful tools, adding assignments and adding tests. Right? So to add a test, you click add content, and of course, click add test. And it's going to take you to this page that allows you to enter the name of the test. So I'm going to call it Monday's quiz. And I could add a description. Monday.
And while Sabrina is doing that, and Samantha, you could jump in if you want. Don't think of the test as a literal test. It's anything that you want automatic grading for. So test could be a quiz, test could just be general knowledge. It doesn't necessarily have to be a test. The test, creating a test could also be a homework assignment, okay? So don't think of tests in the true sense of a test, but anything you want automatic grading for, you can use this feature to do it.
Wait it again. I'm going to select save and select questions, and it's going to take me to this page where I can now add questions or show existing questions if I had questions in this particular lesson, which I don't. So I'm going to click add question, and I see the same list of test questions I can add, and I'm going to select drag and drop. I feel like that's my favorite type of question. So simple to use, you just drag and drop. And Miss Wilson, this is the part where I always fail. Can you help me with creating a question? Or can I have a question in the chat and somebody read it to me? No? No help? Right, I guess I'm on my own.
Countries and their capitals.
Oh, that's a good one. Thank you. All right. So I'll start with Bahamas or the Bahamas. Jamaica. I'll add one more by just clicking this plus sign. Right. I think those are correct. And then I'm going to click save question. And if I'm finished with this test, then I'm going to go back to the class stream. Oh, I should have talked about the different items here. Let me show you the test first. So this is the test that I just created. And if I click it, I'll see the exact thing that the student will see, which is an overview. So the name of the test, the instructions or the description, the number of questions, how the questions are done, and how many times the student in this case has done the test. And if I go back to the class stream and I click edit, then I can talk about the details that I skipped over. All right, so if I go back to the questions list, let me just give that a refresh. Shows me that question that I just created. It shows me the type, drag and drop, the DD, the difficulty, the weighting for the question, which I can change. Let's change that to 3 since there are 3 things to drag and drop. I can change if I want the question to be used in the test or not. I can preview how the question will show up. Right. Edit the question, copy it, or delete it. All right. And as the student, oh, sad part, there aren't any students in this class. I'm going to have to use an example from
Before you do
another
that, Sabrina, could you just go over the different question types pretty
question
quickly
type.
for me, please?
Sure. So I'm going to go back to edit. Go to the questions list, click add question. So the different question types, empty spaces, which is kind of like blank fields. So you'd have a sentence or an essay, and you can enter empty spaces or blank spaces for your students to fill in the blanks. So this is, and then how this works, you use the pound key to create spaces, and I can just add a number at the end.
And to note, for each question type, there are instructions to show you exactly how to do it. So what she's doing right now, you see at the bottom, write the question text, and whenever you need to insert a blank space, insert pound, pound, pound. If you want to specify a specific size, etc. So for each question type, there is instructions for you to on how to do every single question type.
Right. So I'm just going to click create empty spaces, and you see the same text that I have at the top comes up, and I just enter the answer here. Let me make the field a bit bigger so I have more space to type. So this is a test, and that's the answer. I click save question, and there's some instructions there that tell me if I want to have multiple answers. So if you don't want it to be case sensitive, or you want it to just begin with a specific letter. There's also free text or file upload and free text with keywords, which is like for short answer questions. So if you want your students to look at a picture and write a sentence about it or a paragraph about it, or you want them to download a file and write something, a summary or something like that, you'd use free text or file upload or free text with keywords. And I'm just going to show that. Right. So free text with keywords, they are able to write the answer, whether it be a sentence or a paragraph, and you can enter some keywords that you want the system to look for, and this would allow it to be marked automatically. So if you want them to talk about spaces or numbers, and you want to make sure that the number 1, 5, and 6 are included, whether it be in words or in numbers, you could enter that here and it would mark it automatically, right? There are also multiple choice question types that you can have. So you would have the question here and the answers. Select the correct answer by doing that. add another option for, and the correct answer is 2, so I just select that, save question, right? It could have been a multiple choice with multiple answers, that's also an option. So multiple choice with multiple options. You could do a matching, you could do true or false. Drag and drop was the first example. You could do a matrix, which is helpful for math equation, math questions. You could do hotspot. Let me show the example of that one. So with hotspot, you would upload an image, right? And I find an image really quickly. All right. Okay. So I uploaded an image, right? And drag your mouse, the instructions say drag your mouse into the image to define correct regions. So I'm going to click welcome. And the question could be select or show, select word welcome. That's pretty obvious. Save the question, and the student would see that image with the instructions to select the word welcome, and they'd have to click on the image, which is the hotspot, to find the answer or to select the correct answer. There's also fuzzy correctness, which is this question type has the ability to allow the students to select questions based on their percentage of correctness. So I could say there's a square, and some students might think a square is a rectangle or a four-sided figure, right? No one's that they're both correct to a degree, but this one would be, let's say, 80% correct, and this one is just like 30%.
Samantha, tell Sabrina that a square is not a rectangle for me, no, please.
A rectangle is a type of square, no?
No.
No?
But the point of it is
a polygon.
Yeah, but Samantha, you do a really good explanation of the fuzzy correctness and an example. You want to go through that one?
Yeah, she kind of started off pretty good too. It really is when you have multiple answers, but maybe one answer is more correct than the other. So let's just say, I mean, this one is kind of almost like a right or wrong answer. But let's just say this was a passage on main idea, right? And they had to select the main idea. And it was a story about a passage about on the beach or whatever. The first one might be a sentence that just talked about the characters. The second one might be a sentence just talk about the setting. The third one would be a sentence that have the setting, characters, and main thought inside of it, right? And so while the one would talk about the characters and completely wrong, it's not the full answer. So it allows you to add degrees to an answer. So if they select the most right answer, well, the answer that is mostly correct. So you could set, well, this is 100%. If they do this, it's 100, they get 100% of the point. But if they select this one, it is only 20% of the point. So even when I think about modern languages, right? Let's just say a question could be, translate this sentence in Spanish, and then the teacher decides to put some words in Spanish and some words in English. And then in the other one, more words in Spanish, and some right, some wrong. So it's a higher degree in terms of difficulty for the students, because now what they're doing is they are evaluating the answer choices and selecting the best option. So using fuzzy correctness actually pushes that on the Bloom's taxonomy up to that evaluation level, because they're not only just looking for one correct answer, they need to be able to differentiate between the answers given and select the best answer to that question.
Thanks, Samantha. And you see the weight, you see the percentage of correctness. So remember on the page where it has weight. So for example, if this was a 3-point question, if it's 100% and they selected the second one, it would be 3 points. If they selected the first one, they would have gotten 1 point out of the 3 points. Okay, so this is a percentage of the weight that you select on the question overview page.
And the answer, the question about using pictures for multiple choice, no, that's still not a part of this as yet. That one takes just a little bit more science to try to work out where you get to insert pictures as responses in the multiple choice.
Yeah, but what I have seen that people have done, Samantha, is that they've actually put the pictures in the question text. So they would say like, you know, choose a cat, and then they have A and then a cat, and then B on the question text. So I don't know if you want to, well, that might be too complicated to do right now, Sabrina, but in the question text area, they would have A, a cat, B, a dog, C, a elephant, D, a picture of all of these images, right? And then in the answers below, it would just have A, B, C, or D. So
Right.
that would be an alternative that you could do.
Right, and I think that's Tremaine Wax that she would know about that first option. I think she was just checking up on the ability to do that. So not yet, Ingram, not yet.
All right, continue, Sabrina.
All right, so I'm going to save this very bad example of a question and just go to the other two, which are ordering and randomized. So in a pretty self-explanatory, with the ordering, you would enter the question, the text for the question, add the answers, and your students should like set the order. They're able to actually drag and organize it. And for randomized, it's not coming up in this list here. Let me go back. Wrong thing. Yeah, the question. Order words in order. And randomized, you actually have the ability to select, like this last question can be a random question from any of the list of questions that you would have created. So for example, if you had, let me go back to the test list with all of the questions. So in this test, I don't remember how many questions I created, but let's say I have 7 questions, but I only wanted the quiz to show 10 questions, right? No, to show 5 questions. I could deselect 2 of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6. If I want to not show this one and this one, for randomized, I could select any of the 2 to be shown. Right, so that might not be a question type that you use very often, but it's still a functionality. So if I click view test, I'm able to see the entire test, see how it would show up for the student. So let me just click start, and I see all of the questions that I would have created, including the hotspot. I see the entire picture. I see it all, just as how the student would see it. Okay, now for the last content type I want to demonstrate is an assignment. And I'm not going to demonstrate it in this class because this class doesn't have any students, so you won't be able to see how it's completed. So I'm going to go into the class with all of the content, and I'm going to add an assignment. Let me choose a section that should have less lessons. And I'm going to click add content, add assignment. So to create an assignment, you have to enter the assignment name. So assignment for Monday, assignment for Monday. Good. So here are the instructions that the student will see.
Before you go there, let's go right to how to complete it, because that will also make that answer. So you have two options there. You want to talk about that?
Sure. So to complete an assignment, there are two options. One, when the instructor accepts the answer, or two, when submitting an answer. The difference between them is that when the instructor accepts the answer, means the assignment isn't marked as complete until you would have seen the assignment, graded it, and sent that back for, well, saved it for the student to see it, then they would see it on their end as completed. Or if it's just a simple assignment, something that they should be able to complete fairly well, you can select when submitting an answer, it's completed automatically. So they would have that being checked off, that green check, it would be checked off as completed once they submit an answer. But if you were to go to grade it and it's not something that was passed, it's they failed it or it's not completed accurately, you could change the grade and they would have to resubmit that and it wouldn't be marked as completed. So the difference, when instructor accepts the answer, you have to enter the grade and submit it for it to be marked as completed on the student end. And if you select when submitting an answer, it's automatically marked as complete once the student sends it anything as the answer.
And that's very good to note because it helps them with tracking their work as well. And I think for them to keep track, did I submit this assignment? When you choose when the instructor accepts the answer, that kind of places pressure on you because now you have to hurry up, go mark it, or, you know, in order for them to see it as complete. So you may have parents say, yeah, but I submit the answer and it still doesn't show as complete. So you might want to select when submitting the answer. Just because they submit it and they completed the assignment doesn't mean that it is, you know, it was accurate or correct. But the point is they submit it. So you may want to put, maybe that should have been a default, but anyhow, when submitting the answer is when students will know that, hey, I completed my assignment, I turned it in. I don't have to wait for the teacher to mark it for it to be considered completed.
Right. So for this assignment, I'm going to say click and download the file, read the story, and write. Well, this is grade 2, so write your favorite part. I can choose a file, so I'm going to select a PDF file, and I'm going to select when the assignment is open. So it doesn't, even though you're creating the assignment now, or even though I'm creating the assignment now, it doesn't have to be open for submission until when you say it can be open for submission. Or you don't have to set a period when you want it to be open. So it can be an assignment that's open for the entire semester or the entire term, or it can be an assignment that's due today. So you set the assignment today, they have to complete it by the end of the day. So I select the date and the time, so 11:16, that's now. And then the end time, I want it to be tomorrow at the same time. So they essentially have 24 hours to complete. Once I'm satisfied, I click add, the page reloads, and I see the assignment just as how the student would. So I see the name of the assignment, when submissions close, I see the instructions, and I see the file to be downloaded. Once I click that, it's going to open up this tab, and then I don't think you're seeing it, but my file manager is open, and if I click save, the file is downloaded, and the student will see all of that functionality. I'm going to very quickly log
Let me
into
just say something quick on that, Sabrina. When we looked at setting a time for the assignment, one of the things too that you might want to think about is classwork. You know, like there's some assignments that you want the students to complete while you're online with them. And so if the period is from 11 o'clock to 11:50, you might want to turn that on from 11 o'clock to 11:50, and you have to tell them, you have to complete this within this given time. Now we know you're going to have to use your own discretion, because we know that, you know, that could be power outages, technical difficulties, or whatever the case may be. But I think that helps with student discipline too, in terms of on their end, when they realize that, wait, I have to finish this by this particular time. And if they don't, then they mean, and if it's a legitimate reason, they can come out, they can reach out to you, and then you can decide what to do with it afterwards. But you could set a time for that assignment or that task to be open that must happen or must be completed during that live session. And that's a good way to do it.
All right, so this is the student's view of that same class with the assignment for Monday. I'm going to click it, and it's going to take me to the content player, right? So I see the exact thing. I'm able to download the file and type my response or upload a file. So I can say, hello, Miss, here is my assignment. I choose a file, I upload it. So let's do a Word document. All right. Submit answer. And I see that it was submitted, but if I go to the class stream page, it's not marked as completed. And that's because I didn't select the complete when submitting option. So if I go back to the teacher side now, and I go back to the class stream, when I click this drop down arrow, I can go directly to the submissions. So I click view submissions, and it will show me a list of all of the students that have submitted the assignment. So I see Daniel Test, which is the student account I was just in, submission date. The grade date is blank because I haven't graded it as yet. Pending, again, because I haven't graded it, no score. And then I see some operations here. When I click the pencil icon, there's a window that comes up that allows me to see the assignment. I see the text, I see submitted by, date and time, pending. I see the file that the student uploaded. I can download that file. And then when I click grade, I'm able to select a status. So whether it be incomplete, passed, failed, or I want to leave it as pending. I'm not ready to mark it yet. I just wanted to see if it was uploaded. So I'm going to click passed, enter a grade, add some comments. job. Quick grade submission. Wait for the page to reload. Now I see there is a grade date. I see the status has been updated. I see the pass score, right? And then as the student, when I go back, refresh the page, now I see the check mark. It's completed because the teacher marked it as complete. The teacher gave me a passing grade. If I click it and I go into, I see the grade, I see the comments, I see when it was graded, and now I see this green button as completed. Pretty simple, right? Yes, y'all agreed, simple enough.
Well, the good thing is all of this is available to you to review from your knowledge base, okay? And we have images there for you to go through when it comes to creating assignments and how do you access the assignment and grade the assignments here, all right? We're getting ready to wrap up now, Sabrina.
Yes, ma'am. We're practically through. I could have done an assignment that was just like an embedded link to something else, or so like a teacher made test or something like that. And the difference with that is that the student won't be able to see the grade here. That's because the grade is stored outside of the platform. But outside of that, that's practically it for the class stream. This is the student side. Let me go back to the teacher side. I don't know if
Actually, you said that, but if we do an assignment and let's say you put a live worksheet link, right, that the students must complete, while live worksheets will mark automatically, you still will have to manually put the grade in
right.
the LMS if you want it to show up there. So it can happen. And that's like for those persons too who, well, anyway, yeah, same thing for any type of external activity.
Right. So if there aren't any more questions, that is it for the updated class stream. I went through creating sections, renaming, deleting sections. I looked on the different lessons, how to add content, live lessons, tests, assignments, how to edit them, how to mark assignments, how the students view content and complete them. And I talked about the tutorial. I hope that it was educational and you learned something. Remember that you could always go to the Help Center from the My Apps page, the My Apps in the navigation bar or the My Apps page. So you just click Help Center and it takes you there. You could also access it from the login page. So if you are just logging in and hold on a second. All right, let me go back now. There's a link to the Help Center here on the login page. So we make it pretty simple or pretty easy for you to get help. You're never in the dark. You can always get help from the Help Center, from Milo, or when you log in, it's on the apps page. Thank you for being with me today and listening.
Thank you so much, Sabrina. You did an excellent job. I just want to, before we run out of time, I want to ask Ms. Sinclair, if she don't mind, just to talk right quick, because there were some questions earlier coming into me through direct message about the grade book and attendance for primary. If you could just address those two concerns, grade book accessibility and attendance, morning and afternoon. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Good morning, colleagues. And I heard some of your session this morning. I joined you very late. You seem to have gotten a whole lot of information. Sabrina did a fantastic job as usual. Very quickly, your concerns about grade books. We're still waiting on the curriculum division to cement some policy things concerning grades and weighting of grades. Hopefully that will be done very soon. I'm looking at my, this here is my list that I gave to one-on-one concerning my timelines and all of our proposed implementations for this school year right up to the month of June. And so Gradebooks director has mandated that we will have normal report cards for the end of the school year for the summer. And so definitely Gradebooks is one that will be coming up soon as the curriculum division has confirmed some things for us. That is a division that would deal with that. And so we're just waiting to confirm some things. Some of those things are connected to something that doesn't concern you at this point, Bahamas High School diploma. But rather than doing little chunks in the system concerning student performance, we want to do a comprehensive thing. So hopefully by the end of next month, not this month, next month, February, by that time, we would have gotten word, we would have had our policies cemented, we'd be ready to go. Concerning report cards, attendance, we just got confirmation from one-on-one this morning that primary school students, for their attendance, you are now able to mark morning and afternoon, the two openings for the day, rather than every one of those subjects. Give us, please, complete this week and give us, actually complete this month. Give us, because the intent, according to the minister, is to try to get everyone in face-to-face for February. We'll see how that goes. That really depends on what the Ministry of Health tells us, because they are the overall authority for that and the competent authority. If we're given the go for face-to-face in New Providence and the other family islands that are currently in virtual, then we will start fresh in February with the two openings, morning and afternoon. But give us at least this week, please, so as we can get the word out to everyone at the same time. We all on the same page. And that would come from the higher authority than myself, okay? So attendance for the students, that is, the teachers, it is enabled, but we are working out. I know I asked one-on-one to look into those 15-minute intervals that are in the system for the time to mark people in. I had some requests. People are saying that anytime after the 8:15 a.m. time, people were late, and that shouldn't be the case. So those 15-minute intervals we need to look at again in terms of teacher attendance, but student attendance has been enabled since October, I think it was. So the attendance that the question that Ms. Sweeting Lamore is asking, what the attendance that we put in already be still there when the changes are made? Yes, we would be able to capture that data, but Leanne would be able to give you more on that. And the intent is that we keep the data, we have the data, we'll know who was present and which subjects they were in for. But since primary schools have been doing some unique things in terms of they give one link for the day and the children stay all day, we decided we'd work with you more on that and just do the two openings, okay? I'm hoping that was clearer than mud.
Thank you, Ms. Sinclair. And so as you can see, teachers, we are taking the feedback that you're giving to us and working as best as we can with the developers to iron out these different issues. And so I just want to once again encourage you to, don't give up on us yet. We know that it gets frustrating when you're trying to do something and it isn't working and all of that. Oh, we get frustrated too. All right. Sometimes my pressure go all the way up to the moon and come back down in 5 minutes based on what's going on. But our intent is to have the system at its optimal best based on your feedback, and not until we actually go through the process. We had a weird first term, and now we're into the second term, and it's a new kind of second term. And then here Ms. Sinclair saying now we may transition into whatever. It's all new territory. And so once again, the plea is just just be patient with us as we continue to work through this together.